Is that so good? You want your water? Sure.
Yeah.
No, don't throw
You're
it.
trying to share?
Thank you.
Hey, buddy. Cheers.
I actually was diagnosed minutes after I was born. I was already showing low calcium symptoms. I'm not sure if I was in tetany or my blood work was flagged because they already had like the neonatal doctor team involved because I was born a month early. So they were doing more of the panels and things like that, checking, and they saw that my calcium was dangerously low. They called the endo team immediately over. She pretty much diagnosed me without even like seeing me because she saw like the parathyroid hormone level and then the calcium, which were both non-existent. Pretty much my mom was getting stitched up and she was being told that, yeah, your daughter has this condition. She's gonna be in the NICU probably for 6 weeks because there was so much not known about ADH1 in babies. And at that time they thought it was just hypopara. So they're like, this is all that we know right now. I did not have a drop. I was born with a drop. So my calcium levels were so low that my body was pretty much in shock. And I was in tetany, which is where all the muscles in my body like lock up, where my hands and feet turn in, my bones become stiff. It's pretty much like all over my body Charlie horses. So a little baby couldn't even move like her arms. Like I was just stiff. Up until that point, my mom had a very healthy pregnancy. I was almost 10 pounds when I was born a month early, so I was healthy. My lungs were fully developed, everything was good. They really weren't expecting anything to do with that. She knew what to do and she said, I'm not leaving my daughter's side. Like I'm down there with her, I don't care if I have to sleep on the floor. And I'm pretty sure she did at some point. She did not leave the NICU. So I know once I was home, I had to go back to All Children's every day for probably the first year of my life and get labs done for calcium. So my mom was constantly having to make the trek, which is why she eventually just became a stay-at-home mom because jobs were not understanding that she was having to take off. So I was constantly getting labs done, and then I was on the World Caltrol orally, which is just to help increase my calcium. And I was on that at pretty large doses as a baby, and that worked out really well up until about like 2 or 3. And then that's when I passed my first kidney stone. And then that's when my endocrinologist ordered a scan and saw that the sensor also on my kidneys as well as the sensor on my parathyroid is gone, which is what prompted the ADH1 testing. Because she didn't even think to check the kidneys because all my levels, like through blood work, the kidneys were doing fine. So it was just overloading my kidneys to the point where they were just creating stones. And I remember my mom telling me that during an ultrasound, the first one, it lit up like a Christmas tree from the crystals. And I remember her looking panicked and she looked at me and she's like, look, it's just diamonds. You're just bejeweled. It's okay. God made you sparkly. That's really what prompted kind of more intensive care for the ADH1 is after that, because my doctor realized it's not just the normal hypopara. It's not just the blood calcium that we gotta be worried about now. I would refuse to eat to the point where I would have to have like those boost shakes because I couldn't handle anything. With any sickness, I'd be out of school for 2-3 weeks, possibly go into the hospital with a high fever. It would be like a roller coaster. Because sometimes they would drop, and then sometimes they would go too high. Which, I mean, tetany if they're low, but then if they're too high, I would pretty much go into a horrible migraine episode where I couldn't even open my eyes because the pain in my head would be so bad. The kidney doctor, she pretty much told my mom that there's nothing we can do. She's not eligible for a transplant. You might as well just prepare to say goodbye because there's nothing that we can do. Which, if you know my mom. She does not take no lightly. She became crazy mom, and that is how I pretty much got into the NIH protocol at age 6. Because she's like, I'm not giving up on my daughter. There's no way that this is it. She was willing to do everything, anything and everything, to make sure that I was getting the proper care. Thankfully, the NIH called, and within like 2 weeks after getting the call, I was flown up to Maryland, and I had to stay there for about 3 weeks inpatient at the hospital. And I remember I thought I was really cool flying into Maryland every 2 weeks. Like, they knew us. And the NIH, you know, is just an amazing place, and the history and all the innovations that are happening. And plus the endocrinologist that was doing the study at NIH, I mean, she was phenomenal, and I honestly owe her so much of just my well-being, because if it wasn't for her, I don't even know where I would be now. So thinking about there being a specific treatment for ADH1, I think gives me so much hope. It finally feels like there is like a light at the end of the tunnel. I think it would allow all of us to have normalcy and to actually put the puzzle pieces back that we've been missing with treatment. So I think that gives me hope.